Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. I have another Uchu Sentai Kyuranger review for you today. This is the DX Kyutama Cockpit Set 01. And basically this is the 5 mecha that kind of come in the package to form Kyureno, the kind of default formation I should say. Obviously lots of different combos are possible, but is that Shishi Red, Chameleon Green, Comi Blue, Oshi Black, and Kajiki Yellow. So there you go. Basically, they're just Kyutama that come with tiny little figures that you can open up, put them inside. Not a whole lot to them. Cool picture there on the bottom. I like that. On the side, it just kind of shows the way they open up with the little figures. And then obviously the same thing when they're connected. So we'll take a look at all that, of course. Let's go ahead and get them out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. So here are the 5 Kyutama that you get in this set. I think the first thing that's important to note is they do not have any numbers on the front. If you can see the holofoil sticker there, it just kind of looks like some stars in space, like a night sky. No numbers there on the front, so that's kind of interesting. You can see inside that there's kind of like a gray piece of plastic when you turn it around. There's a hinge here on the top, so this flips open. And you can see the little figure inside. I'm going to try to get close up on this. There's not a ton of detailing, but I feel like there's a decent amount. You can see the star on his chest. And there's kind of some detailing on the helmet, but it's very tiny and very hard to make out. They're very small little figures. The only point of articulation is a hinge here in the knee. It's just 2 pieces connected together. It can bend back, it can bend forward. Everything else is 2 solid pieces top and bottom. But like I said, there's a decent amount of detail molded in for a figure this small. I think they did a fairly decent job. So what you can do is you can either have him sit like this when he's actually piloting, and I'll show them with their individual mecha in a moment. And then you can see there's a tiny little Shishi symbol painted here on the top of the lion's head. Very tiny, but nice detail. You can also move this if you choose. You can swing it around if you like, so that when it's closed up, if you want to have him sitting in the front like that, like for a display or something, that is possible. The reason I think it comes like this is because this is the way it would be connected into the mecha, so. Also, you can, of course, sit him in like this for when he is connected to the mecha. There you go. And that's kind of it. I'll show off each one individually, obviously, but that's all they really do. You'll also notice that they do have, and it's kind of hard to see reds. Maybe I'll show you on green. It's a little easier to see. They all have the same pin system. 2 on this side, and then 2 on this side with a space in between. So all 5 of these will make the same sounds in the Seiza Blaster, and I will show that off in a moment. I think what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to break them up and show each one with the mech, and then I'll show off the little figures and everything as we go. So here is Shishi Voyager, and this is the kind of cockpit Kyutama where the picture inside shows him in the cockpit. So you can see the difference up close. And I apologize if my camera light gets a little crazy here, but here's just a quick side-by-side comparison of the normal Shishi Kyutama and then the cockpit Shishi Kyutama. Again, this has a number, this does not. There's no screen inside, obviously. And then taking a look at the pin system, you can see there it's very different. So, taking this, pops right in very easily. If I angle this up, you can see him riding around inside. You can still open it at this point. It's a little bit more difficult to do, but it can be done. There we go. We've already taken a look at the little Shishi red figure. But there you go. That's him in the cockpit, in the chest of Shishi Voyager. And now his legs are kicking up. I wish these had a way to, I don't know how you'd peg them in or something, but maybe if they just fit a little bit more snugly. But I guess the reason they don't is because you have to be able to do it the other way. So like if you wanted him to be just cruising around piloting Shishi Voyager, you'd turn him around like that. And then you would close it. And that's him just piloting it like this. You want to be able to, you know, switch them around. Although it would be kind of cool if they were like gyroscopes where you clipped them in, and then if it was this way, the thing inside would automatically rotate to this position, and then when you turned it, it would automatically rotate the other way. But that would be considerably, you know, more in the toy engineering department, and I'm sure it would be considerably more expensive. But I think that could have been neat, actually. I think that could have made it worth it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Shishi Voyager. So next up we have Comi Blue. And again, I'm going to go ahead and pop off the normal Kyutama that comes with it. And we can do a quick comparison. Oops. There we go. So again, you can see the number as opposed to no number. No picture on the front. And a vastly different pin system. Opening this up, the little blue guy fell out. So we'll take a closer look at him. He's got a little bit better detail in the helmet. I feel like you can kind of see his ears. But again, they're so small, it's really kind of hard. I feel like they did a decent job with the bodies, but the helmets aren't really the best. And then taking a look in here, you can see the little Okami painted there on the top for the wolf. And it's just the same thing. You wedge the figure in the same way. If you want to connect it like that, and then you can lift this up and sit him in like this. Close it up. And it looks good. You can see a little guy in there piloting it. It's kind of neat. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. Next up, we have Shishi Voyager for Shishi Black. Going to go ahead and pop off this Kyutama. A little bit easier said than done. Mawa sliding all over the place. But again, number on this one, no number on this one. Opening up the cockpit. I definitely think that Shishi Black is the best of the figures because you can actually see the detail on the helmet with the horns. He's got a little bit better armor. And they did a really nice job molding him. I think he's definitely the best out of the figures, in my opinion. So going ahead and popping this one on. And then you can lift this up. Pop him inside, like he's driving. And there you go. I like that. I kind of like having this open up and they can actually fit inside there. I think that's a fun little aspect to these toys. Next up, we have Chameleon Green. Taking off the Kyutama. I always think this looks so small without a Kyutama. It's connected to it. Looks funny. So there's a quick side-by-side comparison. Popping this open, you can see the little figure for Chameleon Green. Again, the helmet articulation. The helmet detailing, I think, suffers the most. You can kind of see the little bulbs for the eyes of the chameleon on the helmet there. I feel like it's one of those deals where if you could give these a black wash or something, the detail would probably really come out. But they're so tiny, I can understand it's hard to do. So taking this and connecting it on. Unfortunately, hers is going to be on the side, and there's not really anything you can do about that. I guess you could technically turn it like that. So that is something you could do. And then go ahead and put her in like that. And then the opening would just be on the side. But you could definitely turn it so that she's sitting the right way. So I do appreciate that. That's kind of nice. And I feel like because of the lighter green, you can really see her sitting inside there. I think that's kind of cool. Last but certainly not least, we have Kyuranger Yellow. Boom, there you go. A little side-by-side comparison. Here is the little figure. He actually did a decent job with his like visor detail on the figure. He's probably my second favorite after Oshi Black, because I feel like they did the best job with his helmet. So connecting this, you can do the same thing where you turn that sideways like for Hami, and then pop him in, and then close him up. And he immediately is taking a nap. It's a little difficult to get them to really stay in. That's why I kind of wish that there was like a peg or something. I don't know. I don't know how you'd fix it, but he doesn't like to stay still. But you can see him sleeping in there as he flies around. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. I kind of like the ones that are sideways, because you can kind of see them a little better. But yeah, they're not bad. So here is the fully formed Kyuranger with all 5 of the Cockpit Kyutama. And I'll try to go ahead and open these all up. I'm sure the figures are going to fall out, because that's what they like to do. There we go. Yeah, they're a little hard to just get opened when they're connected, so whoops, apologize for that. Alright, they've all just completely given up. These ones are kind of harder to keep open because of how they're connected to the feet. So blue will kind of stay. Maybe it's just black. Yeah, I don't know. Black doesn't want to stay open. But in any case, you can pop all of the figures in. If you open them up, though, they have a tendency to fall out because, again, they don't really have a way to stay in there. Now I'm kind of regretting opening them in the first place. Black is really giving me the business here. There we go. So you can see them in there. I'm just going to close them back up because they really like to try to fall out. For some reason, the ones on the legs like to fall out more than the top ones. Not really sure. But we'll go ahead and do the lights. So they don't light up especially well. I can turn my lights off for a second and see if it makes a difference. Probably won't. Huzzah. So yeah, they are what they are. I don't know. They don't wow me a whole lot. I'm kind of underwhelmed. I'm kind of bummed by it, but they're okay. You know, they are what they are, and I don't really know what I expected, to be fair. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, really. The figures are fine. You know, they're tiny, so they can't really be ridiculously articulated or detailed. It's just, they're small. You know what I mean? They're even smaller than the little Zyuohgers we got with the Morphers. So those had decent detailing, but no articulation. These have detailing and, you know, articulation. But they're really small, so I don't really know what I expected. But I don't know. Do I recommend them? Meh. I mean, it's really going to be up to you guys. Is it something you need? No, I don't think so. Are they fun? Yes, I think they're okay. You know, they're not amazing. They're not fantastic. It's really going to be up to you. If you love the idea of the little figure and seeing him inside there, then go for it. You know, they can be fun. They're not ridiculously expensive from what I can remember. I think the whole set was somewhere between $15 and $20, if I remember correctly, and I may be remembering that wrong, and if so, I apologize, but I kind of think it was somewhere in the area of $15 to $20 before shipping, of course. But you know, is it worth it for that? Sure, I think it's fun, but I don't know. There's another set planned, the 02, which is going to have Sasori Orange, Washi Pink, Hibitsukai Silver, Tenbin Gold, and I believe Ryu Violet. I believe the commander is going to be it's going to be, 6 through 10, basically. Although not really, because this is the odd numbers and those are the even numbers. I guess that's a better way to look at it. Yeah, so I have that pre-ordered, and I'll probably still get it just to have, the little versions of all 10 of the main Kyurangers, which it seems weird to say all 10 of the Kyurangers, 9 Rangers, but anyway, I'm just babbling at this point. Yeah, they're okay. They're not fantastic, they're not amazing, but they're not really meant to do a lot. My biggest complaint is I wish there was some kind of way to wedge the Ranger into the section so he didn't flop around so much. I mean, they really have no way of staying in there in any capacity whatsoever. I mean, they'll just rattle around like nuts. So that part of it's kind of a bummer for me. And like I said, if they had done the gyroscoping thing, that would have floored me. I feel like that would have been amazing. I do realize that takes a lot more engineering and a lot more to put into the toy, so they would have been more expensive. But I think I kind of would have been more jazzed about that than just these little figures that you can put inside and they just kind of rattle around. So, yeah. But there is actually one more thing I need to show you guys. I'm going to put one of these into the Seiza Blaster, so let's do that now. Alright, so I'm just going to use the red one. Like I said, they all 5 have the exact same pin system, so they're all going to make the same sounds. But if you go ahead and pop this in... Oh, sorry, it wasn't plugged in all the way. So it just says Kyutama. So, no name at the end because it does not recognize this as Shishi Red. Sorry, I hit the trigger button by accident there. It doesn't recognize this as the Shishi Kyutama, so there's no transformation sound at the end. Next we'll do this. So it says Q Voyager, and then it just has a kind of generic sound there. For the movement... For the control, it does that really generic kind of, sounds like an eagle screech sound that it does for some of the Kyutama that don't really have movement sounds programmed. It's like a very, very generic sound. Probably because we'll never see Voyagers for anything like that in the show, so they didn't really bother coming up with sounds for it. So unfortunately, calling the Voyager is very generic. The movement's very generic. I'll do the docking. Docking is always the same. The docking sounds are always the same. And then the attack. You get that same kind of generic sound again. So that's kind of it. Unfortunately, they're just... Whoops, they're good launchers. They're just kind of overall really generic in the Seiza Blaster. They obviously don't recognize that these are the Kyutama that they are, so you know it doesn't say this is Shishi. You don't get any of the sounds for that. You really just get the generic transformation sound that it does for everybody. You get a very generic Q Voyager sound. The control is generic. Docking is the same for everybody. The attack is very generic. So these things in the Seiza Blaster are certainly nothing to write home about. They're in there because I guess they have to be. They have a pin system for like a very generic, like if there's going to be like a special Kyutama down the road that they didn't program into this thing, it'll probably have the same pin system because it'll probably just be a very generic set of sounds. So kind of a disappointment there. So honestly, like I said, I'm a little underwhelmed, but they're not bad. I just double checked. I got them off an HLJ, and it was $15 for the set before shipping. So I feel like for that, it's only $3 a Kyutama. It's really not that bad a price. And for that, I think they're fun. I mean, the little figures, you know, you can't really expect too much from them. They're super tiny, so there's not going to be a way for them to do a ridiculous amount of detail and articulation. I never really expected it. I just wish maybe a little bit more attention to the helmets, because with the exception of black, the helmets are very hard to kind of see any detail on, and that's just unfortunate. But my real biggest complaint is just I wish there was a better way to put them into the Kyutama. You put them in, and they don't really stay in place at all. They just kind of shake around and rattle. I mean, I could live with really no detail on the figure if they could have fixed that issue. That's definitely my biggest complaint. The sounds in the Seiza Blaster exist technically, I guess, but they're not anything exciting. Yeah, I don't know. They're just okay. Like I said, the nice thing is they're not overly expensive. So if you just want a cool little cockpit set, so you can put these in Kyuranger, and then you can put the normal ones like in a display with all the other ones that exist, then I think it's a great idea to pick this up, because you can go ahead and pop these onto Kyuranger and use the others for a display, and then it makes perfect sense. And they're not overly expensive, which is nice. But as far as play value goes, I just don't think it's there. I think if you're looking for little representations of the Kyurangers, yes, that's what they are, but they're not great. And I don't know. Like I said, the only way they could have put that gyroscope thing in, and it would have made them more expensive, but I also think it would have been a much more fun toy. So I would have put a little bit more money into it if they were a lot more fun. That's just my personal opinion, and I feel like at this point I'm just repeating myself, so I'm going to end here. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like and share this video, and please subscribe if you haven't already. So yeah, this has been the review of the DX Kyutama Cockpit Set 01 from Uchu Sentai Kyuranger. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.